Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast, featuring Commissioner Christine King, where all voices are heard.
Welcome to the Kingdom Podcast. I am your host, Chairwoman Christine King of the City of Miami Commission and your District 5 Commissioner. We discuss all things Miami and all voices are heard. Today, my guest is none other than David Whitaker of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. And that is a mouthful
You said it
to
right.
say.
You said it right.
I've been practicing. Welcome to our my little tiny podcast. We also want to recognize I'm wearing pink this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is why I'm wearing pink to bring awareness to breast cancer. But David, you are the executive director?
President, CEO, executive, chief cook.
Chief cook, president, CEO. I know that makes a difference because when I was the president, CEO of MLK EDC, I would correct people and there's the executive director. And I was like, no, president, CEO. So welcome to our podcast, my podcast, Kingdom Podcast, where all voices are heard. How are you today?
Madam Chair, thank you. And thank you for your leadership. And you're a member of our board of directors, so thank you for your support of our organization and your guidance, but all that you do for our city and our community and the folks you serve. I'm a big fan of yours, and thank you for your leadership. Delighted to be here today.
Thank you. Well, Miami is a magic city. I say that all the time, but you know better than most because you track tourism. How are we doing with tourism, our hotel stays and the like?
Well, we're super excited because we're doing quite well. You can never rest on your laurels. There's a lot of competition for vacation dollars and places to travel or meet, but we are doing incredibly well. A great example is our hotel performance. So we're not quite through the year. We're just finishing our fiscal year, but now through September. So with most of the year done, we rank fourth. We're tied for fourth in the nation in occupancy.
Wow.
So third only to New York, Las Vegas, and Hawaii. And they always tend to be very popular. And we always end the year in the top 4 or 5. We're tied with San Diego. Interestingly, of those 5 cities, New York is an urban mecca. Vegas is Vegas. And
Vegas is Vegas.
Hawaii is, of course, a tropical paradise. San Diego also tropical. But we're that one city that is both an urban destination, the sophistication of a city like Miami and Miami Beach, and also the resort destinations that we have with our ocean and our beaches and our national parks. And so we're that one city that's got the combination of both the urban, the energy, the arts and culture, the nightlife, the great restaurants, but we're also a tropical paradise.
Absolutely. We have signature events here as well because in a couple of months we're going to have Art Basel.
Yes. And
the world converges in Miami for Art Basel.
Yeah, no, it is literally the #1 art show in the world. It's even bigger than the Basel show in Basel, Switzerland.
That started it. Yes.
And people travel from all over the world. Our executive airport has more private jets that weekend than when we have Super Bowls and other major events. So it's a huge showcase but it's not just Art Basel, even though that's the heart at the Miami Beach Convention Center, but it's Art Week. So there are art activations all over the community, including in the city of Miami.
Oh, yes. Here in Overtown, we have some wonderful activations for Art Basel. We have them in Little Haiti at our Cultural Arts Center, and we have them in Liberty City. We have shows, displays. The city of Miami is doing great with its Art and Entertainment Council, and they are making sure that all parts of Miami have a role in the Art Basel. So it really is an economic engine for this city as well.
One of the things we're most proud of, and you've been providing leadership in this area, is we took a program called the Art of Black Miami because we wanted to use such a linchpin event to bring a focus to an underserved audience. The artisans, the artists, whether it's Haitian art, Afro-Caribbean art, African-American art, good old Miami Southern art. We took a program to call it Art of Black Miami. That's now become a year-round program.
Oh, okay.
And this year we'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary. So there'll be all kinds of designations and activations throughout the community, specifically focusing on that diaspora and our cultural significance as an art destination.
I love all things art. I've said this over and over. My daughter, my baby girl, she said when she was 6 years old, "Mom, I'm going to be an artist." And I was like, "What?" And she never veered from that course. She's attending the University of Central Florida. She's in the animation program. So through her eyes and my own, because I like to think I'm a creative as well, I'm a photographic artist.
Sure.
And I also do some writing. And I believe without art, our world just wouldn't be as beautiful as it is, you know. And so I support all things art. I support all things art.
Well, it also celebrates our heritage, right? It
Right.
celebrates our diversity. It's a way to tell our story through the interpretation of art, and so it's a great piece for us to be distinguished.
And one of my favorite is Haitian art. It's so beautiful. I love the colors. I personally have some Purvis Young art at home, and just I could get lost.
Yeah.
Just get lost. I had the privilege of going to Barcelona, and I hung out in museums there. I hung out at the Picasso Museum. It's a great way to center yourself and reconnect, and it helps you manage the difficulties that life brings.
And with a good bottle of wine.
And with a good bottle of wine. Yes. So what else is happening with Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Well, and we support you in our community on Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Anything I can do to support you, please let us know.
Thank you.
Each month we just ended Miami Spice Restaurant Month, a very popular program
Yes.
for your audience. And we're now in November, it'll be Farmers Month. And it's a chance for us to focus on South Miami-Dade, the agriculture, the nurseries, the incredible heritage that's down in Homestead
Go
area.
pick strawberries.
Exactly. So that's the month of November. Like I said, we're that one destination that's got both the Everglades, the agricultural beauty of Homestead, and the sophistication of downtown Miami and Wynwood. So we have it all here.
It's true. And we have dance. We have concerts. Every year we have Ultra, which I love. I love EDM music. And we are also having, in December, they moved it to December. It escapes me. It's a big concert. I go as well. What is it?
Is it the one at the Hard Rock Stadium?
Yes.
Loud and Rolling Loud?
Rolling Loud. And Rolling Loud brings in people from everywhere.
I think I saw you there.
Yeah, absolutely. People come from all over the world for Ultra, which is in Bayfront Park.
Yeah.
Rolling Loud is in Miami Gardens at Hard Rock Stadium. These are signature events that bring people to Miami, Miami-Dade County, and conventions as well. We have some pretty cool conventions that come here as well.
Absolutely. In fact, speaking of the Miami Beach Convention Center, it's such an economic engine for all of us. We're going to be hosting the Latin Grammys.
That's a big get as well.
We're really proud to have won that bid, both at the Casillas Center for the performance, but also a major event at the Convention Center, a major performance at the Arts Center honoring women in Latin music. So It's going to be a great week, and showcasing our Latin heritage and Latin culture. We're the intersection of sport, FIFA, World Cup, World Baseball Classic, entertainment, Latin Grammys, the events you talked about, art, food. We're one of the top food cities in the world.
There's a taco stand right by my house that has a Michelin star.
Well, right next door here, the Red Rooster.
I eat there all the time.
Right next door here, the Red Rooster, Michelin. We have 15 Michelin-rated restaurants. Bon Appetit just announced yesterday of its 50 top new restaurants in the United States. Miami is home to 3 of them. Wow. And so that food scene that we've exploded, it really is something that, as we know, as when you travel, visitors want to have a great meal.
Absolutely.
They want to have that time with their loved one or family. We always encourage, don't be with your loved one and family at the same time. It's awkward. But I kid. But, food and entertainment is synonymous. But again, it's a way for us to showcase our culture, whether it's the Hispanic food, Latin American food in general, Southern cuisine,
Haitian food.
So that's a part of the experience that gives us and it's probably why we're the 5th most successful hotel destination in the United States.
That's great. And how are our rates?
That's a opportunity and a challenge, right? Our hotels generate resort taxes. In fact, as you know, the taxes that visitors pay when they invest, when they buy and spend here, those taxes are taxes that serve our community,
right,
including the city of Miami. And every resident would probably have to pay around $2,000 more in taxes just to replace those visitor taxes that we're generating. So we know the economic engine. It employs several 100,000 people. Almost everyone on your podcast knows someone who works in the hospitality industry.
Absolutely.
So it's a great employer. It's a great revenue generator for the city.
I'm a big supporter of Unite Here. Yep. That's the hospitality union.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hardworking men and women. A challenge is we're also one of the higher, more expensive destinations. And it's a supply and demand dynamic. Yes. And you could fill every room if you sold them for $50 a night. And that's not what we want.
Right.
So we want to find that delicate balance. To enable to attract a high-spending visitor, you have to have an experience, great restaurants, art and culture, outstanding sporting events, because people are what they consume. And so you don't care what that Fendi, Prada, Gucci bag costs, because it defines you, the car you drive, the jewelry you wear.
Right.
And consuming a vacation is the same way. We are what we consume. When we go to New York, we go to Broadway. When we go to Paris, we go to the Louvre, et cetera. So that tradition of being a high-value visitor, we have a lot to sell to fulfill that experience. But you can also have a very affordable vacation in Miami. Many of our European visitors just spend all day at the beach.
Free entertainment.
Free entertainment.
The beach is always free. That's what I did when I was younger. We hung out at the beach because put your blanket down, bring your lunch, and just hang out at the beach.
Well, like I said, it's a blessing that we have such a diverse community to celebrate and to invite people to experience. We can never take it for granted. And again, thanks to you and the city and other leaders, we're a safe destination. In fact, one of the safest destinations, quite frankly, in the country. That's something that we're quite proud of and quite appreciative of, especially your leadership in the cities. But we've got to be sustainable now in that part of our community.
Right.
Especially younger generations, they care deeply about our commitment to the environment. We've got to protect our Biscayne Bay. We've got to protect our beaches. We've got to protect the Everglades.
And we're doing that. We are very intentional about protecting the Biscayne Bay.
Sure.
We have a leave no trace policy now.
Absolutely, very important.
We actually closed the islands for 4th of July because we were concerned about the amount of trash that would end up in the bay. And not from our residents, but from visitors. So we're doing a big educational campaign on managing our bay, keeping the bay clean, environmentally clean, looking out for our manatees, and just being resilient and intentional in our efforts.
Well, it's so important. It's so important. Thank you for your leadership in that.
Yeah. And now we just announced a couple of days ago that the World Cup, FIFA, is coming in 2026.
Super excited. Thank you for being there with us and your mayor the other night. The FIFA host committee had its first meeting. We've got to raise some significant dollars to host the event, but we will. There's all kinds of sponsorship opportunities. Of course, 7 matches welcoming. We don't know the teams yet. We won't know until next year. But obviously South American teams, Argentina, Colombia, Brazil.
Yes.
If and when those teams arrive here, the fans it'll bring, our local fans who are part of those cultures, it's just going to be a magical 7 match period. And then we host a semifinal game, which will be one of the top games at the end, and the consolation match. So it's going to fill our hotel rooms. It's going to put us on a world stage. Hard Rock Stadium is one of the best pitches in the world for that facility. The fans will be here celebrating. We'll have fan activation zones.
Oh, I'm looking forward to having activation zones throughout District 5.
Absolutely.
We have a soccer park.
Yes.
And our soccer team. They're kids, but they perform so well. They've had several championships. So I'm looking forward to activating
Absolutely.
in different segments of our community so everyone can be a part of this FIFA experience.
Right, we're going to work with you to create watch parties. Some of the matches are being played in other cities around North America. The tickets aren't inexpensive, so we want to make sure that at any level, any community, any child can get a chance to be part of World Cup excitement.
Yep. I think we should take the day off when the matches are being played so we can all watch them.
Pass a proclamation. I'm in.
That's
Maybe more than one day.
That is going to be fantastic. That is going to be. I'm so excited. I'm looking
No, it's gonna be
forward.
exciting.
I'm looking forward to my nephew. He's such a big soccer fan. He's a huge. He plays soccer. He's been playing soccer or football since he was like 5. So he's dragged me into the excitement of soccer. And with Inter Miami here, we have just caught the fever
Exactly.
of football, and it's the most popular sport in the world. Not in the U.S., but in the world.
Yeah.
That is the most popular sport. So I'm very much looking forward to that and the economics that's going to bring to our city as well.
Absolutely. It's going to be a special. But, we're hosting the College Football Championship in January of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
This January we'll be hosting.
I hope UM will
Go Canes.
go Canes, go Canes.
I'm not sure about University of Central Florida. We'll talk about that later. But we're hosting a semifinal game this January at the Orange Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings in huge fan base and a television audience. We have the World Baseball Classic coming back. It was so successful last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming back in 2026. It's the World Cup of Baseball.
Oh, wow.
And I tell you, that evening when Venezuela was playing the Dominican Republic, or
Oh,
Puerto
I
Rico
know,
was
I
playing
know,
Venezuela,
I know.
The fan excitement, again, celebrating our cultural heritage,
Mm-hmm.
the local residents who are from those countries. What a showcase for Miami as the heartbeat of
Yes.
Central and South America.
Yes. You know I'm South American. I was born in Guyana. So we love all things. What I love about Miami is such a melting pot.
Yes.
And there's such a huge Caribbean population here as well. Shout out to Guyanese folks all over the world. And, we have a huge Bahamian population in the city of Miami.
Built Miami.
Miami, exactly. And we have a Jamaican, we have Haitians, and, Dominican Republic folks. It's just everywhere you go, there's culture. And you don't see that throughout the United States, but it is here. It's on every corner. There's some culture. So it's so rich. Miami is so rich in love and spirit and diversity. We're such a diverse community.
Well, and the great news is that's the kind of audience that we're attracting as well, because you have to look like the people you have to serve the people,
Yes.
and you have to look like the people that you're hosting.
Yes.
So diversity is a very, very important part of obviously the national conversation, but it's also a big part of the hospitality success that we enjoy.
What do you love most about your job?
I'm blessed with a great team. As you know, as an administrator, you've got to it's like being a coach. You've got to build and support a great team around you, and I'm blessed to have an incredibly talented team. I just love seeing them succeed and thrive, and it's just such a joy.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been back. You may remember,
Yes.
I've been back for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I was the CEO in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Learned a lot there. 5 years in Chicago.
Very cold.
Interesting. It's on a day like a couple of days ago, I miss that cold weather sometimes. It gets pretty warm here.
Yes, it does.
Before that, I was in Toronto, another incredibly international, diverse city.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for 10 years.
Okay.
And before that, I had been here
Mm-hmm.
for my first 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And blessed to have grown up here in the industry. I had a chance to become a leader elsewhere, but come back home, and couldn't be more proud to be here today.
What would you consider your challenges?
Speaking of being a coach, when your football team is 11-0 or 10-1, the next year you can't be 6-4, right? So we're at the top of our game. Now we have to stay there.
Stay there. Yes.
Now the beauty is it's a privilege to have a chance to just welcome the world here. And if we don't take our destination for granted, if we protect our destination, continue to make it safe, thriving. Look at all the growth of hotels, new construction. The best days of Miami are still ahead of it. Everyone would agree.
I think so.
And not many cities in the United States can say that today, that their best days are still ahead of them.
Yes.
But that's absolutely the truth for Miami and Miami Beach. Couldn't be a more exciting time. We just have to manage it and care for it properly.
Yes, we have to curate our experience. Downtown is seeing a revitalization. I can't wait to see the end result of all of the...
Transformative.
It's going to be transformative. We're not going to be able to recognize downtown, and it's already starting to happen. We have hotels in Wynwood that are beautiful. Wynwood has become such a walkable space with the Wynwood walls. It's such a great experience. Art, food, culture, and people come. You go to Wynwood on the weekends, and it's packed.
Yeah.
It's just packed with people taking in the experience.
Sometimes you kind of wonder what will be the next, Wynwood. Wynwood was nascent 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
Alapata is now starting to...
I believe it's going to be
emerge.
Alapata.
Yeah.
I think
Great new
Alapata
restaurants
is
there.
going to be a destination for art, restaurants, and its vibrancy. It's such a beautiful community. It's such a rich community. And I believe our Commissioner Gabella, is going to take that community to the next level.
Yeah, he's providing great leadership there. Where we are today, Overtown, the history, the heritage, the challenges, the decimation, unfortunately, decades ago, but now the chance to revitalize with whether it's the infrastructure, the transportation, but also the parks, hot new restaurants, this amazing theater.
I'm so excited about curating the Reverend Edward T. Graham space, and with the new bridge that's being built, it has brought light, sunshine back to Overtown.
It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be exciting. I am ecstatic about that space. We have to get it right, too. I intend to honor those heroes that came before us to help build Overtown, make it what it was, and seeing the resurgence here in historic Overtown, it's amazing. We're located in the Historic Lyric Theater, celebrated its 110th anniversary, and so many people performed here. Whitney Houston performed here. Wow. Did a music video here. The walls here have so many stories to tell.
Well, I wish you were a little bit more enthusiastic, But you're a great champion of our city, and so thank you for your leadership.
No, thank you. What's a typical day for you?
We, as the top administrator, I have a lot of constituents that we want to make sure that we touch base with. So while the team is busy working, I tend to try to make sure that we're continuing to build those bridges. We receive government support. So, of course, the county commission, where our tax dollars are collected in collaboration with other cities like Miami and Miami Beach. So you always want to make sure that you're staying in touch with your political leadership. We spend a lot of time together.
Yes.
Not
just because I'm a board member.
No, but you also, we need to make sure that what your priorities are, we have to find ways that we can support those priorities, right, in building a better community. So those are fun conversations to have. We welcome a lot of important decision makers. They're considering us for a convention. So I get to show them around a little bit. We just, in December, we're going to have Adobe's national convention here, top tech company in the world.
Wow.
14,000 delegates at the Miami Beach Convention Center. And some of the most, sophisticated consumers in the world, Adobe, right? So that's a chance to fill our hotels in a softer period of time, leading up into the season where it gets really full because of the weather.
When is the season? What is considered our season?
Our busiest month by far is February and March. It's freezing just about everywhere, and it's beautiful here. So that's, of course, our hotels are packed with sunbathing visitors. It's warm. Yes. A lot of our big events, F1 is in Mother's Day weekend. Okay. The U.S. tennis, the Miami
tennis.
Open.
The Miami U.S. Open.
Coconut Grove Art Festival. So there's a lot of February events. The South Beach Wine and Food Festival.
I love that.
Yeah, no.
I just taste my way all around. I love that.
Yeah. So those are our busiest months by far, February, March, April. But then we've become a year-round destination, which is exciting. It gives us a chance to keep the hotels full, You don't want to be a seasonal town. You want to be a 12-month successful town. And again, that leads to us being tied for fourth with the highest occupancy in the country.
How are we managing now? This year, I believe, is the first year we've had heat advisories.
And that's a real, you talk about sustainability. It can get awful warm here. And look at the severe weather. Unfortunately, my hearts and prayers for our friends in both the Panhandle, but in Georgia, in North Carolina, where it's just absolute decimation. Yes. Tropical storms are stronger, more frequent. Mm-hmm. We're vulnerable. We know how precious our environment is. We're still the sun and fun and oceanside destination.
Right.
We've got to protect that the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for air conditioning, by the way.
Yes,
There's an awful lot of indoor activities that help people kind of find their way when it's just unbearably hot. But, when you've got that linen shirt and you're on the back of a beautiful yacht out in the ocean, or you're fishing, or you're laying on the beach, the sun feels a little bit better.
It does. It does. It really does. That makes the difference.
Maybe a cold beverage in your hand.
Yes, a cold beverage or two. Now, I'd like my viewers to get to know you and my listeners to get to know you a little more personally. What would be your favorite book?
The first book I ever had was The Wind in the Willows, and it was a book that my grandmother gave me. Mm-hmm. And so it has incredible significance to me. But it was my first book. And unfortunately, the way I was growing up, it was my only book for a long, long time. But that book just has such meaning to me, right?
Okay.
And again, as I've evolved and technology, I don't dedicate enough time to reading books. I spend so much time online, as you know, we all do.
No, not me.
Well, unfortunately, it can become a bit of a trap, right? Mm-hmm. And now I consume a lot of news online as well, mm-hmm. sporting news, news, business news. But, there's nothing like curling up with a good book. But unfortunately, I have not dedicated the time I should.
I read every day. I found as a public servant, I have to be so intentional with my time. I read every single day. Every single day. Next question. Do you have a favorite song? Do you have a theme song?
Well, any Stevie Wonder song is my favorite.
I heard he's going back on concert. He's going to go do a tour.
Can't wait.
I'm going to catch that. Any Stevie Wonder song is fantastic. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would you like to sit down and break bread with?
Well, so you could really push the envelope and say Jesus Christ, right?
True.
And that would be pushing the envelope.
Right.
I think he's got other things to worry about than having dinner with me. But, you think of those things, right? And then, you think of American heroes, whether it was Abraham Lincoln.
I would love to. He is one of my heroes.
Yeah.
I love Abraham Lincoln. I picked up a portrait of Abraham Lincoln in a yard sale at Martha's Vineyard.
Well, in my time in Chicago, Illinois, his home, mm-hmm. The capital. So, what was on his mind and what he was dealing with as he led this country. And many of those issues are relevant today.
Exactly. And he was big on inclusiveness.
Yeah.
And he brought his rivals, when he became president, he brought them in and invited them to be a part of his cabinet. He was such a smart fellow.
Yeah, we could learn some lessons today.
Yes, we can. I try to use his blueprint for my leadership as well.
Well, good for us. Do you have the big hat? You got to have the big hat.
I don't have the big hat, though.
Get your staff to get you a big hat.
What do you love to do on your off time? How do you relax?
I love to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up cooking, both as a child. I grew up on a farm, youngest of 8 children. So while the older kids, the stronger, bigger kids were working, I was left to cook. So that was kind of my first task, of being the chief cook and bottle washer for my family.
Oh.
I cooked in college, helped put myself through school by working in a restaurant, and then just love cooking. My wife loves to cook as well, and so our favorite date night, especially on Friday nights, is we go to Publix like going to the library. And we pick out stuff, and we're deciding what we're going to make for dinner.
Oh.
And we sample stuff, and then we create new recipes. and she's good too. And we all try our hand at things, and then we taste it, and then we have a great meal.
That's wonderful.
And
I hate to cook.
I love cooking. You come over, we'll cook for you. Well, like reading a book, for me, it's therapeutic. Cooking is my way to relax.
Cooking for me, like I would see someone prepare a meal in under 30 minutes. That meal would take me 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I would make a mess everywhere. Every once in a while, I'll dabble and make something. Like I make fantastic squash soup.
Okay.
I make great lentil soup.
There we go.
But when I'm cooking for one, my kids are gone.
No, I understand. Well, we love to have people over as well, so we'll get you out to the house for a
I would love
great
that.
meal.
I would love that. My last question would be, if you could give your younger self, that guy that was raised on a farm, advice, what would it be?
I think I was tormented as a young person because I worried myself sick all the time.
Aw.
And I worried myself sick all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it came from my father, my relationship with my father, but I worried about everything. And I worried my way through college, and I worried my way through my first job, and I worried my way through my first promotion. And I worried and worried and worried. And then I got to be blessed to be relatively successful. And I'm like, what was I worried about so long, right? But, worry can be a bad habit.
It can.
You have to stay focused, and you have to keep an eye over your shoulder. But I probably wasted too much energy worrying and not enough energy celebrating and being thankful. Now, today, I'm blessed to have overcome that, and I'm so blessed to have everything that I've had in my life, and I'm so blessed to be in this amazing destination. But, that worrying is almost like a demon.
Yes.
And when you can exercise it
Yes.
and then enjoy life and have so much to be thankful for and blessed for, it feels a lot better.
That's good advice. That's good advice, because someone is going to hear that, and they may be experiencing just that,
Yeah.
and it would give them something to think about. Because I do think we have to go through it, but if you can express that and someone can hear, hey, you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
It's going to work itself out. It's going to work itself out. So that is good advice.
Yeah. I just wish I had known it, 40 years ago.
So I hope some folks are listening now, and they will benefit from hearing that today. Thank you for being a guest on my podcast. Thank you for joining me on the Kingdom Podcast, where we discuss all things Miami and all voices are heard. Thank you, and that's a wrap.